just got out here, savages. I can smell a skunk around literally right away. Sheesh. Hopefully one doesn't pop up out of the bushes and sabotage today's video, guys. But what's going on, my YouTube family, and what's happening with my YouTube savages? I hope each and every single one of you guys are having an absolutely baked, blessed, beautiful, totally magnificent, absolutely immaculate, and above all else, I hope you guys are having an absolutely savage start to your day. Today, I could definitely tell when I got up this morning, savages, that the weather is finally starting to shift. So while we still have somewhat beautiful weather, I figured it'd be an absolutely perfect time, check this out, guys, to come on out here to one of my favorite spots, savages. What can I say, man? I'm a summer baby, and for whatever reason, when the savage gets around large bodies of water, I feel like surges of inspiration and creative inspiration. So that's exactly what I wanted to do today, savages. And before I even got here, it dawned upon me, I've actually never really made a video talking about addiction, and when I started the channel, that was one of the first things I wanted to do, is help a lot of savages get off of that demon, get that demon out of your life, exalt that demon out of your life, rebuke that demon out of your life. And today, hopefully we can do just that, savages. If I could even help one person, worth it. Yo, I'm being dead ass right now though, guys. Excuse the savages language. I smell not just one, perhaps two skunks, unless it's just one that's super close. Sheesh, savages. So I'm gonna have to keep my eyes peeled. But other than that, let's get into today's video, guys. Real quick, savages, before I get too carried away, check the wind out today, guys. Holy crap, man, the enemy knows I'm about to try and help some people. Sheesh. Quick disclaimer for the YouTube community guidelines. And nobody featured in this video or any of my videos is under the age of 21 and or holds their Ohio license MMJ card through the state of Ohio. There were no minors featured in any of my content, guys. Not now, not literally ever. And all the content that I upload to the channel for you guys is meant for educational and entertainment purposes only. Not to mention, nothing you guys see here featured on the channel is meant for you guys to reenact within the safety of your own home. As you guys can see, we got a little doob tube here, but it's not a pre-roll, it's not a cone or anything like that. I actually pre-rolled a doobie myself before I left the crib, and we're about to be roasting that down here in just a couple of minutes, guys, and it is smelling ridiculous right now, guys, and it's not even open. I can smell it. Woo-wee! It is a little bit chilly today, guys, but still absolutely beautifully, divinely, magnificently beautiful up out here in Canton, Ohio this morning, savages. We're up out here by the river. I ain't gonna lie, the water today isn't looking too cute. Kinda looking a smidge brown. Now that we got that officially beat up and busted out of the way, those savages, please drop it down in the comments where you guys are getting ready to grind down, twist up, and then spark up during the course of today's video. It ain't never going to change, guys. I absolutely never get sick of seeing that. I love seeing what you guys are roasting while you're watching the videos right there along with your boy. At the same exact time, guys, please drop it down in the comments where you would like to see me do a review on next. It's a toss-up right now for the next full-length video review. It's either going to be that Eye Crusher from Clutch, or it's going to be that Cactus Cookies from Meigs County. I am super excited to try both of those out. I did kind of test the Eye Crusher, but I only took one hit off of it, guys. That's not really a fair judgment anyway, because normally on any type of vape, you gotta take like 2 or 3 hits to really get the flavor to start pulling through 100%. So real quick, let me give you guys a little bit of backstory on the Savage and my days, my dark days of addiction, guys. First and foremost, a lot of you guys might be wondering, why do you feel qualified to talk about addiction? You look like you've never had an addiction a day in your life, savages. Well, it might look like that. That's because I stand by a principle, and I have my entire life, guys. And that principle is never wear your trauma, never wear your pain, never let anybody know what you've been through, guys. And the strength that you will find in that, magnificent. Dude, the skunk I'm smelling has to be super close, guys. I'm almost nervous to record facing this way. Sheesh. Real quick, savages, this is what we're about to be toking on for you guys today. It's a little bit of a salad doobie. I got some of that Crazy Taxi from Standard Wellness up in here. And not only that, one of the homeboys, and you guys, if you've been rocking with me for a while, probably know which homeboy I'm talking about, gifted me some of his recently harvested flour. We got some gelato cake and something called Holyfield. Both of those looking, smelling ridiculous. I'm going to upload a short of what those nugs are looking like sometime later on this evening. But I threw some of that Holyfield in here too, guys. Ooh, that bee wants some of the savages nectar. And real quick, guys, if any of you guys enjoyed today's video for any reason at all, please hit it with a big fat juicy savage thumbs up. That really does help the growth of the channel as a whole, more than you guys could even possibly imagine, man. But at the exact same time, if you guys dislike today's video for any reason at all, hit it with a big fat juicy savage thumbs down, but drop it down in the comments why you guys disliked it and what you would like to see me do better in the next video, guys. Sheesh. So, real quick, why does the Savage feel qualified to talk about addiction in the first place, man? I know with this innocent-looking face, you wouldn't think, guys, but I have had quite a dark past. So, first and foremost, in my late teen years to early 20s, for about 6.5 years, I was heavily, and I do mean heavily, addicted to pretty much every hard street substance under the sun, but especially two in particular: heroin, fentanyl, and alcohol. Towards the last 3 years, especially, guys, it was just absolutely ridiculous, the amount of fentanyl that the Savage was doing each and every single day. And towards the very end, $100 worth of fentanyl a day wasn't even enough to get me off of the dope sickness. It was absolutely ridiculous, guys. So honestly, I felt like because of the grace of God that I didn't actually overdose at any point in time taking fentanyl, which is just crazy because the amount that I used to do, guys, I'm telling you, it's the grace and glory of God, man. It could be nothing else. But it just got to the point where I felt like, all right, listen, man, it's clear cut. I have two options and two directions I could take with my life at this point. I could continue to do these drugs. Even though I hate them, I wasn't feeling any type of euphoric pleasure from it at all. It was just because I was so sick, I had to be able to go to work so I could continue to pay my bills on time. That type of situation. And I know there are so many Savages in the United States of America alone, not to mention other bordering countries on planet Earth, that are dealing with this epidemic. It has been an epidemic since way before my time, way before I was born. But in my generation, it has exploded. It is so common in even suburban areas nowadays in the United States for a family to be internally destroyed from the demon of addiction, guys. And if I could help even one person with today's video, I'm absolutely going to do that. So we're going to talk about a couple different things in today's video, guys, and I don't have a certain format in mind for today's video, so please bear with me. It's definitely some different type of content for us here on Average Savage 420. Usually we're super versed in cannabis product reviews for Ohio and Ohio's medical and recreational program. First and foremost, guys, that's still what we're here to do. Don't get it twisted. I just really felt it heavy on my heart this morning after waking up and having my morning brew of coffee and all that good stuff to talk about this with you Savages today, man. I know there are so many people struggling with it, so let's get into this. I'm going to talk about a couple different key points and things that I think are super vital and important to actually getting rid of the demon of addiction out of your life, and I think it's a pretty clear-cut avenue on how to do that. There are a few different ways you could go about doing it, guys, but it's tried and true. The methods that have always work to this day. They're the best methods, and that's pretty much what I am going to cover over the course of today's video with you guys. So sit back, relax, grab your tippy top shelf, roll up a doobie yourself, grab a pre-roll, some edibles, some concentrate, get your eye crusher ready, anything you guys need to sit back, relax, and enjoy the content with your boy today. We're gonna have a nice little Savage session, guys. Sheesh. So I guess I'll start right here. What caused me, what type of circumstance or environment or people caused me to even start doing something like heroin in the first place? Because don't get it twisted, guys. During my 6.5 years of hardcore addiction, heroin was right there in the center of it the entire time. It was definitely my DOC, as they call it in recovery, my drug of choice. It was basically the substance that my body, my biological makeup, technically had an allergy to. Is something that I just could not get enough of. It felt like it was the only thing on God's green earth that could fill the void that was so prevalent inside of my soul, spirit, and body. And at the time, I just could not get off of it, guys. That stuff literally had a chokehold on the Savage for 6.5 years. It ruined relationships with my loved ones, family, friends, dating partners at the time, guys. You name it. It ruined every relationship possible. It got to the point where my mother, my personal mother, my birth mother, blood mother, it was to the point where she would literally tell me to my face, why don't you just go die already? Because she was so stressed out, worrying about me passing away or overdosing. She just didn't want to worry about it anymore. And at that point, I kind of started opening my eyes and being like, dude, this isn't just destroying my life. And I was miserable doing those drugs, Savages. Don't get it twisted. I literally felt like a dead man walking. So to see my mother react to it in that way, it even got to the point towards the end of my addiction, the last year of it, my family even cooked up a scheme and a plot and ploy to have me thrown in jail as a last ditch effort to try and force me to get sober, basically. It somewhat worked. I went back to using after I got out of jail, I'm not gonna lie, but my use didn't actually last for much longer after going to jail. I think for me, that was one of the biggest wake-up calls. Alright though, Savages, we're about 10 minutes into the video. Real quick, I'm going to take a little break and light up our doobie. Drop it down in the comments where you guys are sparking up as we speak. I'm super excited to taste this stuff out. I put half of this doobie is that Holyfield that I just got gifted from one of my great homeboys, very gifted in growing flower guy, Sheesh. Every time he comes through to show me what he's been cooking up, it's ridiculous every single time. And this time, looks to be no different, guys, Sheesh. Tell you guys what, so far, I've been a pretty huge fan of that Dirty Taxi from the Standard Wellness as well. I mean, it's right up my alley. It's pretty much checking every single box, and it's definitely deserving of that top shelf Hall of Fame. Sheesh. As we're getting a crazy oil ring already. Ooh, wee, man. And I'll tell you what, in my journey of recovery, one of my best friends has been the Good Mary Jane, man. Pretty much one of the most natural, holistic medications you can possibly ingest or put into your body. And who would have thought that I would actually give this stuff right here at least like 25-30% credit for me staying off of these substances as long as I did. And one thing I'll say right now, the longer that you stay off of drugs, the easier it is to stay away from them. And we're going to get into what helps stay away from it and get out of it altogether here in just a minute. So guys, what drove the Savage to start doing heroin in the first place? Well, funny enough, guys, at the time, I was actually dabbling with LSD with one of my cousins. He had moved in with the Savage. My little brother at the time moved out. He went out to West Virginia to visit his real dad's side of the family. I'm getting a little bit too personal and deep. We might not do that going forward the rest of the video, guys, but I'll give you guys all the cliff notes. That's important to the story, essentially. So my cousin moved in at the time. He was freshly released from prison for a drug-related offense. And I was really young at the time, Savages. I mean, peer pressure in my life at that time, especially in the earlier, younger days of the Savage's life, was super prevalent. I mean, I was a people pleaser for so long, guys. I am a empathetic type of person, even to this day. But thank goodness, God has sent just the right people my way to teach me a lesson, so to speak, and who to actually help out and who to not help out. But that is a topic for an entirely different video on an entirely different day, guys. Yo, real quick. This thing is roasting, Savages. Let me go ahead and bring y'all in. Uh-oh. Looking like this is going to be pretty nice doobie, Savages. Let's get it. So, to make a long story short, there was one summer right after my cousin had moved in with me and my family at the time. It was my mother and just our pets and dogs and stuff like that. It was us three in the house. So, being the only other guy in the house, and he was like 10, 11 years older than me at the time, well, he still is. But I looked up to him, man. Fun fact, this guy was actually the very first guy I ever smoked weed with. And I was still really young at this time, guys. I was like 16 and a half, 17. I remember it was like a year before I had turned 18, something like that. Yo, oh my gosh, the flavor on that is dumb stupid. Since it is a salad joint, it's a little difficult for me to differentiate what that Holyfield is tasting like. But just stay tuned, Savages. I got some gelato cake and some Holyfield, whatever the cross is on that, and I am going to be doing separate videos for both of those because they both look absolutely dumb, stupid, crazy. So, me and my cousin started doing LSD together, guys, right after he moved in. It was the start of the summer of this particular year, and I had never done anything like that prior in my life. The only thing I had ever done was smoke on some good ganja. So anyway, guys, I remember it was on the night of one of my birthdays. I think it was actually my 17th birthday, if I'm not mistaken. We had got some acid, and I remember the price of it at the time was just so cheap, man. It was like $10 a hit, and at the time, whatever acid we were getting was pretty good. I mean, I had a good time on it, don't get me wrong, guys, and it persisted this way for about a month and a half. And we did acid at least once a week, every single week for the entire summer. Now, that sounds like a great time, and it kind of was until it wasn't anymore. Now, let me get into this. So, I took it upon myself one weekend, Savages, to go ahead and get some acid from a person we hadn't got acid from prior. This is the first time getting acid from this particular individual, and it was the first time also that I was going to take this stuff by myself without my cousin being there, which every single time prior, he was there every single time, and I don't know, I think subconsciously it made me feel more comfortable about doing it, took some of the anxiety away. I'll never forget it, guys. It was $10, same price as all the acid we were getting before this. It was a paper tab, and it had a picture of Invader Zim on the front. Look at this wind picking up, guys. The enemy hates when I'm trying to help people, man. I'm telling you, sheesh. That's a topic for another video as well, but the subject of good and evil is definitely real, Savages. And I'll tell you guys what, once you actually make it into your journey of recovery, I feel like it's inevitable, something I'll talk about later in this video, but I think that addicts are actually at a pretty big advantage in life if you're able to get sober and get clean and learn the lessons that you learned during the dark days of your addiction, because I feel like once you finally do get clean, especially heroin and meth addicts, even crack addicts, the people that use the hard stuff, Savages, the stuff that really just jacks up your whole biological makeup, man. Guys, I feel like when those people finally get off of those drugs, they just have such a natural motivation to be the best possible human being on planet Earth that they can be. Whereas a lot of people, if you don't go through a traumatic experience like hard addiction for years and years on end, living on literally the lowest frequency and vibration a human being could possibly be on, it's straight miserable, guys. If you can get out of that, you're going to be a force to be reckoned with, savages. This is one of the biggest reasons I believe God uses people that have been through traumatic experience later in their life, because you've already walked in the darkest of circumstances and situations. So if you get out of that, you're going to feel so grateful to have your life back, guys. It's going to feel like you're literally living in a surreal reality, like a dream. At least that's how it was for me, guys. I was one of the worst heroin addicts you probably ever seen at the time. All of my teeth were jacked up and broken, chipped out of my mouth. It looked like broken piano keys, literally. I know that these teeth look beautiful and everything, guys, but they're not real teeth. They're actually fake. And a lot of savages probably don't even know that, man. So, back to the story. I took this paper tab of Invader Zim LSD, but it wasn't LSD, guys. To this day, I'm fully convinced that this dude sold me a research chemical. Doesn't sound fun, does it, man? And something, guys, was super wrong with this stuff. I noticed it like 20 minutes after taking it. It wasn't that long at all. This joint is going right now, savages, man. The combustion is pretty much perfect on this stuff. Sheesh. I cannot wait to try both of those on their own, guys. Oh my goodness. But I just remember like 15-20 minutes after taking this particular LSD, definitely a research chemical, guys, sheesh. But I just had the worst panic attack and anxiety welling up from inside of my body that I had never felt previously anytime that we took LSD together, guys. Normally, it was like super giggly. You'd feel super euphoric. You'd be laughing for absolutely no reason. That is some pure LSD. This stuff had me tripping absolute nuts. Excuse my language, savages. But for the purpose of the story here, I definitely want to be transparent. I was tripping nuts, guys. Looking in the mirror, I could see every single follicle of hair on the savage's face. Everything looked super, super weird, guys. And since at the time, or not at the time, after I actually started using hard drugs and alcohol and using meth once or twice, guys, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, we beat addiction, guys. We've made it to the other side. I can look back and talk about this stuff and laugh about it now. At the time, it was not funny. The reason I bring up the stimulant use in the past, guys, is because I remember using that stuff a couple of times and staying up for like 2 or 3 days straight. That is actually a really comparable feeling to how it felt after I took this research chemical that was supposed to be LSD. Everything just looked super weird. I felt totally out of my mind. I felt like I was, what's that word, man? Discombobulated, but disassociated. Like I felt like I wasn't actually inside of my body. And it ensued like this, guys. I had a panic attack pretty much the rest of the night, and finally, early in the morning when my cousin had gotten home from work that morning, I was finally able to sleep. Maybe just having somebody there that I could talk to about it really helped me calm down, but it changed my life forever. This is something that I don't think I've ever talked about here on the channel, and it's something I try to avoid talking about just in life in general because it's such a crazy concept for people to even grasp their mind around it. But when I woke up the next couple days, I didn't notice it really immediately like the next day after that. I was just like kind of still out of it and really tired from not sleeping much the night before, guys. 1 second. But I'd say after like 3 or 4 days since that night, I woke up, man, and I noticed it immediately. Actually, what had happened, guys, I lit up a doobie, and after I smoked like half of a joint with one of my homeboys, I felt so freaking weird, savages. It absolutely freaked me out. I had the most crazy anxiety. My heart was like beating out of my chest. It felt like I was going insane, to be totally honest with you guys, man. Sheesh. And what ensued over the course of like the next 2 to 3 months after that, I will never forget that period in my life, savages, of just going to every single doctor I could possibly find to try and figure out what was wrong with me, because crazy thing, these symptoms were persisting. They did not go away, and to this day, they have not went away, guys. And it wasn't until like 3 months after the fact that I met a psychiatrist that had to sit me down, like respectfully look me in the eye and tell me, son, I don't think you're ever going to be rid of this disorder. It is a disorder. It's called HPPD, stands for hallucinogenic persisting perception disorder. And I couldn't even fathom what this doctor was trying to tell me. And after I looked up the condition and what the definition of it was basically like having effects after taking a hallucinogenic substance that persist and do not go away. And that's exactly what I was feeling, and I could not figure it out, guys, for 3 months. It might even have been longer than that. I remember I was so depressed, savages. I stopped working the entire time for the rest of the year. I just could not get myself to go to work. I could barely get myself to leave the house. All I remember thinking each and every day, dude, you ruined your life. It's your fault that you're like this now. You'll never get better, and life will never be the same again. It'll never be as enjoyable again. And those were the type of negative thoughts that were just circling in my mind, but I could not help it at the time, savages, because the anxiety that came with the disorder, because it's like, it's directly equivalent to anxiety. Like, they really both go hand in hand. And at the time, guys, every single day, because of what I opened my eyes and everything just looking super weird. And by the way, guys, HPPD isn't like taking acid and the effects just never go away. It's like the last 2 hours of the trip when you just start feeling like absolute junk, like garbage, and everything starts looking like super staticky almost. That's what it looks like. I still get tracers, especially at nighttime around super bright LED lights, especially. Oh my gosh, I can't even take that, savages. But basically, what I'm getting at is that disorder became the catalyst of my hard drug addiction, because I was so depressed for so long. One day, I ain't gonna mention any names, of course, but somebody I knew at the time had come over to the house, and they just so happened to have picked up heroin before they stopped at my house. And I felt so low as a human being at the time, guys. I felt so miserable inside my own skin. I did it. I ain't even gonna hold you guys. I asked him to chop out a line of that stuff, and we went right to business, guys. At the time, and I am super ashamed to say it this way, but I do want to be transparent just to give you guys enough backstory and knowledge as to how I ended up in this predicament in the first place, because that's one thing a lot of people get misconstrued, is that drug addicts make a decision to stay addicted to these drugs, and it's not like that at all, savages. It is a disease of the brain. That's exactly what it is, a disease of the mind. It acts and functions as a disease, and you have to attack it like a disease to beat it, guys, and that's what I'm going to tell you guys how to do here in just a second. So boom, the depression, panic attacks, and anxiety from taking that research chemical led me to actually trying heroin for the first time. And I ain't gonna lie to you guys, man. After I tried it, I loved it. I don't think I would have if I wasn't going through that severe dark depression I was going through at the time, but it actually made me feel better. I remember the night that I tried it, I actually got a full night's sleep. I didn't have anxiety. I could actually sit down and like play a video game or watch TV or do anything to take my mind off it, which prior I was not able to do. I would literally sit there all day and think about what I had done to myself. It was the most torturous period of my life. Well, there are some other periods that are pretty much right up there, guys. I ain't gonna lie, but it's up there, man. Sheesh. What a doobie, guys. I wasn't expecting this one to burn this good. Holy crap. Halfway down, starting to feel real nice effects. Oh my goodness, guys. And at the end of the video, I am actually going to inform you guys how I treat the disease of addiction with my marijuana use. Actually, fun fact, guys, most of the time that I actually smoke is when I'm recording my content. I don't really burn too much nowadays when I'm not recording content, and that's just one thing that I try and do to make sure that I am using the medicine and it doesn't start using me, because you know, the disease of addiction is lifelong. Even after you get off of it and after you're successful in your recovery, the risk of you going back is so high that it's something that you pretty much have to stay on guard with pretty much for the rest of your life. Now, don't get it twisted, guys. It does get much easier the more time you spend in recovery, but it's something that you really have to be mindful of for the rest of your life, guys. Sheesh. So boom, I had gotten on heroin, and the first like 2 months that I was doing that stuff, guys, it didn't have me physically addicted. I was just like mentally addicted. I liked the way it felt. It wasn't until like 2 months after that that I noticed the one time that me and my cousin didn't have the money to actually pick any up, I started feeling freaking sick, guys. I mean, violently sick. Like, my insides were wrenching and turning and twisting, like the inside of my stomach. I had goose flesh. I had, like, cold chills all from head to toe, savages. Just the most uncomfortable feeling. I had, like, the dry sweats going on, or the cold sweats, not dry sweats. Savage. My goodness, homie. You know what you're doing, bro. Guys, I ain't even gonna lie, man, this period of my life persisted for quite a while. I mean, almost 6.5 years, and the more that I did heroin, the worse it got, man. And if you guys ain't aware of opiate addiction and what that does to your body, It is probably the worst pain, the worst experience, the worst darkness I have ever experienced, guys. Even with this stuff that's been happening to the Savage recently, this summer of 2025, that's pretty dark as well, but just in a different type of way. That's because of other people's negative emotions and stuff that caused them to do some stupid stuff, essentially, guys. Sheesh. And I kind of just stayed in this revolving cycle of getting a job through like a temp service or just any job that I could, working it for as long as I could until I did something stupid to mess it up. And I would go through jobs like, dude, I'm telling you, white on rice. Boy, I remember some years during my addiction to heroin, guys, and fentanyl is what it became after like 2 or 3 years after I started doing heroin, because there just wasn't any heroin left on the streets. It was all that white powdered fentanyl. And then my addiction really got bad, guys. I'll get into that in just a minute, but ooh, wee. And to me, it just felt like every single year that passed, I lost more people, more loved ones started to turn against me and just hate my guts because of the lifestyle I was living. Because what people don't understand is when you're addicted, especially as heavily as I was at that time, guys, you're not just hurting yourself or ruining your own life and putting yourself in misery. Every single person around you, especially the ones that care about you guys, you're putting them through the same quality of misery, just in a slightly different way, if that makes sense. You're going through physical trauma, but you're putting your loved ones through psychological trauma. Guys, this J is burning so clean right now, I honestly can't even believe it. So it had gotten to the point around 3 years into my heroin use, guys, and at this point, I was so deprived as a human being. It wasn't just heroin I was doing. I even started drinking alcohol each and every single day. When I couldn't afford heroin, alcohol was the go-to, because I remember at the time I could scrape up a handful of change and afford to get drunk, because alcohol is literally so cheap in the United States, it's just sickening. Just for example, guys, right now as a medical patient, we're paying like $15 a gram, sometimes even 20 bucks a gram for our medicine, but you can go to the gas station down the way and afford to get drunk for like $3.50. Make that make sense, guys. If that's not put there to destroy the society, come on, man. Not to mention what I always felt was weird at the same time, guys. It seems like for every single street narcotic that exists on God's green earth, the pharmaceutical company has like a polar equivalent to it, like their own version that they can make money on. It's kind of weird, but when you notice it, you cannot unnotice it. So like for example, heroin for the pharmaceutical companies would be Vicodin, Percocet, and Oxycontin. Methamphetamine would be Adderall. Xanax would be alcohol. You guys see where I'm kind of going with this? Modafinil and stuff like that is like crack cocaine. I mean, it's absolutely crazy to me. They even came up with a synthetic version of pot, guys. I mean, in this day and age, how many different synthetic versions of hemp can you buy at the head shop? It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I didn't know that weed was such a rare commodity that we had to start growing synthetic stuff in a lab, guys. What the F? Tell you what, I'm actually really enjoying today's video, guys. If you guys are, hit it with a big fat juicy savage thumbs up. If not, hit it with a big fat juicy savage thumbs down. But please drop it down in the comments why you guys disliked it, what you would like to see me do better in the next video, because constructive criticism is absolutely always welcome here on the channel, guys. Anything I could do personally to make the content more enjoyable and entertaining for you guys, the consumer, I am absolutely going to do that every single time. So guys, it got to a point, just to speed the story up a little bit, the last year of my addiction, I had one of the best paying jobs I ever had in my entire life. I was super excited. I was like planning all these things in my head that I was gonna somehow just all of a sudden get my life together and still manage to like skimp a little bit of fentanyl here on the side. Like, it was just stupid, guys. I had tried to quit my own way so many times because I used to tell myself all the time that I didn't need to go to rehab. I didn't need help. I could quit whenever I wanted. Yeah, I fell into that trap, savages, which I would say 80 to 85% of addicts do fall into that mental, psychological trap of thinking that they are stronger than their addiction. Guys, I'm telling you, no, you're not. You're not stronger than the devil, man. That is, until you get saved by Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Then you're stronger than almost anything on earth. Sheesh, except God. But just for a little backstory real quick, guys, so you understand what I'm about to tell you. So when the heroin on the street, like, switched into fentanyl, completely different substance, completely different experience. And I remember at the time, my family used to take videos of me when I did fentanyl that were just crazy, man. And I would hate to even watch one of those videos today because it's so surreal that I was doing these type of things, man. But it was so demonic of a substance, such a huge demon on my spirit and my soul, that when I did it, it would cause me to black out and literally start like walking around talking in like tones and mannerisms like I was possessed by a demon. But mind you guys, for me, I was totally and completely unconscious every single time that this happened. And then when I snap out of it finally and come to, my family would show me ththese videos that they had taken of me, and I'd just be like, what the F? Like, if I didn't see them, there's no way I would believe that stuff happened, guys. I would literally be like beating my head off the floor or the wall, making myself bleed. I remember, guys, back then when the fentanyl was around, I used to do this every time that I would do fentanyl, guys. And when I'd wake up, I'd look at my body, I'd have these big welts and bruises all over my body from beating myself up, literally, guys. And there was no question in my mind, that was demonic possession. Savages, I'm telling you, man. But it just so happened that one faithful night, guys, I had left work early because somebody had told my supervisor that I was scooting off to the bathroom just maybe one too many times, and it kind of looked suspicious. So my supervisor, God bless his heart, such an amazing man. Honestly, I'll never forget that guy, guys. But he actually let me leave early that night and just gave me the rest of the day off. I gave him some BS story about something going on with me at home or some stupid stuff like that, guys. And he had actually given me grace and let me go home for the rest of the night. But when I went home, I was like, dude, I just got away with murder, bro. Now I'm off the rest of the weekend. I got all this fentanyl to do. Let's get it. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what we did. And wouldn't you know it, just like every other time, boom, Savage blacks out, and I wake up to four police officers, guys, not 1, 2, 3, 4 police officers beating my butt. I ain't gonna curse, but beating my Savage butt into the driveway concrete and screaming, what the F did you take? And I didn't understand it at the time, guys, until I looked at the footage on the cameras that they had on their person. After I was actually in Stark County Jail, one of the officers was kind enough to come and talk to me about the situation and show me the camera footage of me standing like this. The first police officer that showed up in respondents came up behind me, put his hand on my shoulder, and my stupid, demonically possessed ass, excuse my language, savages, but seriously, looking back, what was I thinking? I wasn't. I was unconscious. But I actually turned around and tried to, like, take that police officer down to the ground with me, at which point he called back up, and they showed very quickly up to my house and proceeded to beat my head in and then take me to jail. My clothes were so ripped up, guys, I was practically naked. Not ashamed to admit this now, guys. I can kind of look back on this stuff like I mentioned previously in the video and kind of laugh about it, man, because we beat it. We came out of it on the other side. Life is a beautiful thing, and now I can try and help other people out get through the same type of thing. It's beautiful. So, long story short, guys, for the first time in my life, I had to spend some time in the county jail, and the county jail in my hometown is abysmal. From what I hear, it's almost worse than certain prisons. All I know is a lot of people I was in there with would have loved to just go to the prison in the state. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna speak too much on that, guys, but it was enough to plant the seed in my head mentally that I had to get off this stuff. Not only that, at the time, guys, I had a very, very dear and sincere friend. And this was the only person in hindsight, guys, that tried remotely to encourage me to go and get my life together before I passed away from the disease. And they just beat it in my head enough times that I actually finally listened. And to be 100% honest with you, savages, I am super grateful for having that person in my life for sure. Because looking back, if it wasn't for them, I don't think I actually would have went, because of how stubborn I was mentally with myself, thinking that I could beat addiction on my own without the assistance of anybody. I didn't need rehab. I didn't need to go to recovery. You guys are the crazy ones. That's how I was, like, deluding myself, guys. Totally delusional. So, Savage, actually, after 6.5 years of this hardcore addiction to everything under the sun, guys, there is so much more that I could tell you guys, but we might reserve those for different story times down the line. If you savages end up enjoying today's video, man, which here's hoping that you guys do, and here's hoping that it helps anybody out there, for real, man. But I finally went to rehab, savages, and ever since I went, I hit the ground running, and I literally never looked back. To this day, ever since I went to rehab, the only things I put in my body now when it comes to chemical compounds is got to be the good ganja and the couple medications that I'm prescribed to this day for certain, like, health ailments that I have with my stomach and stuff of this nature, savages. Sheesh. And what was the biggest thing in hindsight that helped me even get my feet to go into rehab in the first place? Because I'm telling you guys right now, I make it sound easy. It was not easy, bro. That's why I was on this stuff for such a long time. 6.5 years, man. By the grace of God, I am so grateful. I am beyond grateful to even still have my life. But not only that, not be plagued by crazy health ailments from the 6.5 years that I was on those drugs. I actually had contracted hepatitis C from using dirty needles. And by the grace and glory of God, guys, I have been cured of that since from a very, very loving and caring doctor that I will not disclose the name of, but she had practically saved my life. And since then, guys, we've been walking with Jesus as best as we possibly can. And nowadays, guys, this is where I get most of my motivation from, man. And like I was mentioning earlier in the video, I think it's such a blessing in disguise to actually go through the dark journey of hardcore addiction if you are able to pull yourself out of it. Because if you pull yourself out of it, guys, I mean, for a bunch of different reasons, but the motivation that you guys have naturally to want to become some of the most animalistic, successful people on the face of planet Earth, essentially, is next to nothing, savages. That's why a lot of people that you see are some of the most successful people on Earth have had journeys with addiction prior to becoming successful, guys. Robert Downey Jr., may I say any more? One thing I want to help you guys understand right now, man, I do believe in many of the laws of the universe as well as spirituality and my Christianity. And I'm going to tell you guys from personal experience right now, everything on the face of the planet is vibrating off of a frequency of energy. Everything is made up of energy. We are, your phone is, this lighter is, this doobie is, the material inside of it is, this doob tube is, that river, every single thing is energy. And what you're vibrating on, which is essentially the frequency that you're on, is the same frequency of things that you're going to attract into your life, savages. So I'm gonna tell you guys this right now. It can make it super, super complicated, but I'm gonna condense it down into like 1 or 2 sentences. You cannot change anything in your external before changing something on the internal. If you want to change your life physically, the best way and only way to actually do that is plant the seed internally and make a sudden shift in your mindset, perspective, and the way that you think about things internally. And if you stay committed to that, watch the magic happen around you, guys. And if you want to take it a step further, start doing your due diligence, man. I'm telling you guys right now, it changed my entire life, guys. When I was in my days of addiction, super demonically possessed, guys. There ain't a doubt in my mind. I used to talk about God the Father like he was the worst thing you could ever possibly talk to me about. I would literally curse his name. I would bash his name. I would get mad at you for trying to talk to me about it. And that makes sense to me nowadays why other people get mad at me for talking about it. But there's a reason that the word carries so much weight through, eternity, guys. Seriously, thousands of years later, the same text in the same book, so powerful across the entire world today, and especially nowadays, guys, with that recent assassination. I ain't even gonna say the situation, guys. A lot of people get their panties in a bunch over stuff like that. I'm not a politician, nor do I ever want to be. But we're living in very, very dark times, guys. That's all I need to say. And if anybody isn't aware of that already, I would encourage you to open both of your eyes and look around you, man, for real. These are some of the darkest times I've seen in my entire life. Now, I'm one of those crazy individual savages that thinks that there's actually a formula to living a successful life. And when I found the Word of God, I pretty much had found the answer I was looking for. I had already knew God existed because he had saved my life. This is something I didn't even tell you guys, man. Before I actually went to rehab, I'll never forget this night. Sheesh. We're rambling, guys. Anyway, but I'll never forget this night. I was sitting in my bedroom at the time, my mother and family's house and home, and I had said this prayer out loud to God at the time, basically just giving my life to him. And I asked him for a few things specifically. And guys, I mean, I could really get very in-depth and in detail, but just take it from me. Every single thing that I had prayed for that day, I ended up getting in a bigger fashion than I even prayed for it for. It's absolutely crazy. Basically, the point of the prayer was because my entire life, especially as a teenager and coming up into young adulthood, I had the dream of being a creator, creating some type of entertainment. At the time, it was music that was really driving me. And these days, I'm starting to get back into it a little bit, savages, if you guys could not tell. Sheesh. Man, what a doobster. But essentially, guys, with those big dreams that I have always had, the 6.5 years that I spent on alcohol, Xanax heavily, and heroin and fentanyl, not to mention other substances if they were around me, because I would pretty much do anything at the time. I was so deprived as a human being, soul and spirit. I prayed to God and I said, God, please, if you're real and you're listening to me, I said, if I give everything I have into changing my life, will you give me the opportunity to live the life of my dreams? Will you give me the opportunity to make all of the people that started to hate me because of my addiction become proud of me and see what I'm capable of? Because I always knew deep down, guys, there was something there that was strong enough to make me want to get off of these drugs in the first place, guys. Not to mention my family and friends, seriously. I hurt a lot of people during this time. I ain't going to get too much more into that specific prayer, savages, but I'm just going to say this. The way everything happened after I actually took those first steps to go into rehab, everything started coming together exactly how I prayed for it. It's absolutely crazy, guys. And then as time went on and I stayed in recovery, I started going deeper down this spiritual rabbit hole into where I'm at today. It's such a beautiful thing, savages. And that's why I stand by it so heavily, because the results are clear in my life, guys, especially for the people who have known me my entire life. I mean, for a time, they was all wondering, like, dude, what is he doing? Is he practicing magic or what? How has he changed so much? Sheesh. Yeah, I'm practicing the magic of changing my mindset. Searching for truth and staying committed to truth when you find it. Because one thing's for certain and two things for sure, guys. Everything that we see around us in today's society is basically put there as a distraction so that you do not find the truth about life and what we are actually capable of as human beings, souls and spirits. If I was to tell you guys that every single one of you guys was put here with a divine purpose in mind, if you search for it and try to find it, you will find it. And if you try to look for the answers hard enough, you will find the answers, man. But we live in this industrialized society where having a 9-to-5 is super prevalent and important to raise a family, pay your taxes, and do all these things, chase a bigger paycheck for a bigger toy. All these things that they distract us with, guys, technology, cell phones. Just if I could encourage anybody to take a 7-day period, 1 week, man, 1 week, just to see, as like an experiment, just to verify for yourselves, guys. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, okay? I'm a fraud, right? Isolate yourself from as much technology as possible. Definitely social media, man. There is almost nothing good comes from social media, I'm telling you, except for the fact that it is a great avenue for people to start doing content and creating content. It gives people a platform super easily, just like YouTube's one of the reasons why I stay committed to doing things on YouTube, because I feel like the amount of love that they give the everyday person and being able to start chasing their dreams, it's beautiful, man. And not having to pay a subscription fee to actually do that, even in today's market, YouTube is huge. It's one of the biggest apps that you can possibly download. One of the most popular. They probably made some of the best money, biggest money. They could charge for that, man. They don't, and it's a blessing, man. I'm super grateful for that. It's one thing that I'll say right now that's really, really prevalent with a lot of people that suffer with the disease of addiction. It's one thing that you need to switch in your mind, guys, and your mindset as a whole and in general, right? That it's much, much better to go for the thing that gives you delayed gratification and feels hard or even like a chore in the moment, as opposed to reaching for that instant gratification, for that thing that's going to make you feel good in the moment immediately. Everything that feels like that in life, guys, I would really gauge to say everything almost and stand by that feels great instantaneously is going to be exactly what is your downfall down the road, guys. Every single time, that is exactly how the devil gets us. He is a trickster, and he is called the trickster for a reason. And in comparison to that, and on the opposite side of the spectrum, guys, things that feel hard to do in the moment but give you gratification down the line. This is one of the only things about working a 9-to-5 that I do feel does feel gratifying and satisfying to the human soul and spirit, is that like when payday rolls around, you feel super fulfilled and accomplished that day every single time. And it's basically like the little drip, the little morphine drip of a drug, the breadcrumb trail of a drug that society feeds the everyday person to kind of keep them in that vicious cycle, retire at 65, 70. The retirement age seems like it's going up, not down. Don't get it twisted, guys. Savage works a 9 to 5 to this day, guys. But I can promise you one thing. When we get home from work, as much as possible, we're putting work into what we want to accomplish in life so that one day we get paid for doing what we enjoy and what we find passion and love in doing. And I think every single human being should have the opportunity to go down that path. And that's just me personally, guys. We are created in the image of God. God himself is a creator. He's not a consumer. Even though I've been on this path now, guys, for a couple of years, I still say that I am pretty new and in my infancy when it comes to my walk with Jesus, my walk with God, or even my walk with spirituality. But some of the results that I've seen in my own physical reality, guys, in my own personal life, using some of the information I have learned through such things as Christianity, reading the Word of the Bible and the Word of God, practicing spirituality, and that sounds mystical to like people who don't know what I'm talking about. Spirituality is basically just like the laws of the universe, guys, and the way that everything works in the world that we live in around us. And I think it's super vital to understanding what type of object or being that human beings actually are, what we're here to do, and what you're capable of doing. Because once you figure that out, guys, I promise you, you can never unsee it after that. And I would encourage every single one of you to take even 10 minutes, 15 minutes a week, maybe even a start, to just start looking into some of these things, guys, because I'm telling you, there's the secret sauce, man. And just to wrap up the point of the video, guys, this one's a beetle. That was quite a doobski. Sheesh, I cannot wait to try both of those on their own. And once again, hats off to the homie. He absolutely knows what he's doing, kills it every single time. So in general, guys, if I was to wrap it up in like a brief condensed statement here that's broad and could be understood by a wide range of individuals, it would be this. If you're trying to attack and get rid of the demon of addiction out of your life, one of the best things that you could possibly do is keep it in the center of your focus that you don't want to do it anymore, that you're not that type of person anymore, you don't want to live this way anymore, you don't want to feel this way anymore, and you are just not going to be doing it anymore. Now, it's not going to work immediately. I'm not going to sit here and cause you guys to feel naive about it or come off naive about it, because it's going to be one of the hardest fights of your natural born life. I am going to be 100% real with you about that. I want to encourage you guys, if you're struggling with especially opioid addiction and you're going through withdrawal, even at the time of maybe watching this video, I want you to keep prayer in mind. I want you to keep God in mind during those times for strength, for motivation to keep pushing and keep going and not to turn back. I don't expect anybody that's dealing with this absolute terrible disease or this battle, this warfare of the mind, soul, and spirit, to not have a couple slip-ups and maybe a couple relapses on the way of initially trying to get your feet into recovery. And this is something I heard Steve-O say quite some time ago, guys. I never forgot it. It's still one of the best statements I've ever heard anyone say about the disease of addiction. And he said it like this. So he was like, I would describe addiction as almost like getting into a pool of like ice cold water, right? He said at first, it's one of the most uncomfortable things you guys will ever experience. It's going to feel so unnatural. But if you stay in there, guys, and you don't get out right away, the longer that you stay in the pool, the more comfortable and the more natural it feels. And eventually it feels like you're not even in cold water anymore. And I never forgot that, guys. It stuck with me for some reason. So why not, savages? And why not you guys, right? If anybody at home is dealing with anything like this, guys, you're suffering with an addiction to alcohol really heavily, you're suffering with like maybe sex addiction, gambling addiction, that's one thing I will say, and just to warn every savage who is going through it, once you do get into recovery, the disease of addiction likes to try and adapt itself to literally anything. So once you do finally get drugs out of your life and that demon of addiction for drugs and alcohol is finally gone, I want you guys to keep your eyes open and stay peeled and vigilant for the fact that the disease is going to want to adapt to anything it possibly can, such as food addiction, cell phone addiction, video game addiction, porn addiction, sex addiction, gambling addiction, anything that it can possibly attach itself to, it is going to try. And one thing that you guys definitely want to stay away from, which is something that I can tell you from personal experience that I did, they told me in my recovery program not to do, and I disregarded it and did it anyway, and it kind of set back my progress quite a bit at the time, guys. I ain't even gonna hold you. And that's the first 12 months of recovery, of you actually being off hard substances. You do not want to start a new relationship or rekindle an old relationship, because what's going to happen, guys, when you're addicted to these things, you're so numbed out emotionally that when you get off of them, you're going to start feeling things you haven't felt in a very long time. And let a nice looking gal or guy approach you as soon as you get clean and sober, which is exactly what happened to me, guys. And I'm fully convinced that it's the devil, because before, I had no problem shutting that stuff out of my life when I was actually addicted to these things. As soon as I get off, what's he start attacking me with? Pretty toxic, narcissistic women. The bane of my character. The bane of my existence. In that entire type of situation, another video, another topic for another day, savages, right? We're almost at an hour-long video here. Sheesh, man. And all of that came with its own set of life lessons as well, and I am so grateful that I was able to come out the other side of that as well, because at the time, I was not equipped for that type of stuff, savages, and I literally moved in with somebody like a month and a half after I started going to my recovery program, which is blasphemous. It's something that you should literally never do. You're putting yourself at risk of relapse tenfold, and by the grace of God, I didn't actually relapse, but I ain't gonna lie, towards the end of that toxic relationship, Savage came pretty close, man, pretty close. If I have to leave you guys with one little statement, man, anything of like encouraging advice, it's gonna definitely be this. Every single one of us at some point in time in our life had a dream that we wanted to attain and achieve in life. And for most of us, it even has happened to me several times, guys. Somewhere along the way, life just kind of beats you down in a way mentally most of the time, to where we start believing that it's not achievable or it's not attainable. I'm here to tell you that anything you set your mind to is absolutely attainable, because everything externally around you is created from within you. So that means that there can be nothing externally that does not come from you, if that makes any sense. Existence actually comes from you. You're creating your own reality based upon the frequency. And if you want to know how to change your frequency and raise your frequency, these are all topics that I'm going to be introducing to the channel down the line, kind of incorporating it right there with the reviews and things of that nature, savages. If any of you guys enjoyed this video, absolutely hit it with a big fat savage thumbs up. You guys already know. But anything on this God green earth that you want in this life is absolutely attainable if you can become the type of person that attracts it, if that makes any sense. And that's a spicy little nugget. I'm just going to leave that there for you guys, and we will delve into these topics more in depth down the road. I'm definitely going to start trying my best to educate as many savages as I possibly can for what has worked for me, what seems to have worked for a ton of different people today and in the past, guys, past generations. I mean, this stuff is really set in stone. It's a formula. I think that every single person on earth has the same potential. You could be born into this life maimed, without an arm or a leg, and I think you still have the same chance of making it. I really, really do. And maybe in another video, I'll tell you guys why I think that. Sheesh. I'm not the type of person to, like, if I learn something or I learn a way of doing something that really works for me, that I want to keep it to myself. Absolutely not. I want as many people to know this stuff as possible. And if you're anything like me, man, for most of my life, I was oblivious to all this stuff, man. And for me, in my adulthood, the missing piece of the puzzle, I mean, ever since I was a kid, guys, I've always had these huge questions about life, about what we are, who we are, why we're here, what is here, what is the point of this, why does everything feel and look and seem so magical, but they're trying to tell us that it's not magical, it's normal, what is going on, sheesh. And maybe this is why the devil attacks the savage so hard. And on that note, guys, I hope each and every single one of you guys enjoyed today's video, man. Thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for taking time out of your day to tune into today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit it with a big fat savage thumbs up. If not, hit it with a big fat savage thumbs down. But drop it down in the comments and let me know what you guys thought about it and what you would like to see me do better in the next video, guys. I love each and every single one of you savages from the bottom of my heart. None of this would be possible without you guys and God. First and foremost, at the end of the day, I hope you guys have an absolutely baked, blessed, beautiful, totally magnificent, absolutely immaculate, and above all else, I hope you have an absolutely savage rest of your day. I'm about to enjoy the rest of this absolutely divine afternoon. Let me just show you guys real quick, man. Sheesh. By the way, I don't smell that skunk no mo. Dude, super beautiful up out here, savages. How can you not see the divine when you look at stuff like this? Oh my goodness, bro. Just want to take that in. Wow. Wintertime is upon us, guys, sadly. Sheesh. Drop it down in the comments what you guys would like to see me do a review on next. We got stuff from Meigs County. We got stuff from Galena's. We got stuff from, oh my gosh, guys, by the way, that new thing that Clutch just dropped, the double perm, big worm. Anyway, permanent marker back cross, that's got to be the next thing we pick up from Clizzity Clutch Cannabis. Stay tuned for that here in the next 2 to 3 days. We're definitely going to be covering that one. And then they actually released the fire cake in a tent as well. Absolutely magnificent. Chefity kiss. I cannot wait. And until next time, guys, I hope you have an absolutely baked, blessed, beautiful, totally magnificent, absolutely immaculate, and above all else, I hope you guys have an absolutely blessed rest of your day, man. Peace.